All right, good evening, and thanks for clicking on to Vogan's European Outlook for Friday, the 9th of December. We continue to rattle on with this cold spell. Last night, safe to say, was the most challenging night of the winter season so far for myself. This was the scene near Carbridge, heading north at about 10 to 3 this morning, and snow covered road, quite tricky, especially as you were kind of ascending any kind of elevation. The truck was kind of struggling slightly um, to keep going because you could see the little slippery indicator kept flickering constantly on the dashboard. So yeah, it was the first snow covered road of the season, and it made you realize that the cold pattern was well and truly here. Hopefully, it won't be quite as challenging tonight. I do know that there is still showers ongoing across northern Scotland through the course of this evening. We'll just continue to hold on to that kind of nagging northerly flow, and that means that we're going to continue to see that mix of rain and sleet down at low levels, snow, anywhere above 150 meters or so, and we've got an area of low pressure kind of just off the Norwegian coast. So we're continuing to see that northerly flow coming down. Of course, where there's more shelter, so i.e. the central belt, we've got more in the way of clear skies, lighter winds, and really points south of that, away from coastal areas, we're seeing temperatures take a tumble. -9 this morning was recorded at Benson down in Oxfordshire. Of course, a well known cold hollow in the south of England. So temperatures were very impressively cold this morning across several spots, southern Scotland, north of England, down through the Midlands, and into the south of England, and parts of Wales as well, of course. So this is the setup of the ECMWF. We'll play through the loop here. You can see that not a great deal changes over the next few days. What we've got is that area of low pressure that kind of actually starts to kind of fill somewhat through the course of the weekend. So the isobars kind of start to spread out. We're going to start to see the development of freezing fog more readily. I think especially where those winds are lightest, clear skies. Notice here the showers piling in just as that area of low pressure sinks to the south. We've got that little feeder band here on the north side of that low that brings a more pronounced spell of rain, sleet, and snow across northeast Aberdeenshire, along the Murray coast, possibly into the Inverness area during the course of tomorrow morning. But it's high and dry further south, clear skies, light winds. We're going to see the temperature into the high single figures below freezing, possibly knocking the door of -10 in the southern upland areas where there's shelter. Continue to play through the loop of the ECMWF. You can see that that area of low pressure then sinks down the North Sea, would possibly enhance some shower activity, at least eastern portions of Ireland, where we're seeing snow accumulation in the Dublin area. We also seen some snow in parts of Wales through the course of today, and that feature will continue to sink south. Lots of spread in the isobars indicate that winds will be a lot lighter. There's that little band of rain, sleet, and snow now edging into the Fife area, as you can see here. This is by the time we reach 2100 tomorrow evening, and of course, more cold temperatures. Daytime temperatures, anywhere from -2 in the fog to perhaps +3, 4 at the very best. Once the sun goes down, temperatures take a tumble with it. Ice becoming an issue again. Ice, by the way, this morning was very, very bad. Driving along the A9 wasn't too bad, but off the beaten track roads, untreated roads, were like a skating rink this morning. Parts of Inverness was quite bad. Driving just off the A9, heading into my village of Evanton, and the road was like a sheet of ice. So very tricky conditions. That hazard is going to maintain itself for quite some time to come, I think. Continue to play through the loop here. Notice here that the area of low pressure doesn't go anywhere. In fact, it kind of dumbbells around the trough, the upper level, mid and upper level trough. So it kind of sinks south down over the Irish Sea, skips across into the North Sea, heads back north once again, and of course we remain in this cold no man's land of weather, so to speak. We've got that area of low pressure, that subtropical system, well to the southwest of the UK. You notice here by the time we reach 1500 Sunday afternoon, there's an area of low pressure bringing significant snow event to central portions of Europe. The UK is stuck in that cold no man's land, so we remain trapped in a regime of coastal showers and indeed freezing fog conditions by day and by night. Quite the system actually, you notice here heading up into northeastern Europe. Notice by the time we reach 9 o'clock on Monday morning, there's that area of low pressure getting a little bit closer to the UK. But if you notice here, as we continue to play through this loop, we remain with that area of low pressure. Yeah, it's well over 1,000 millibars, but nonetheless, it is an area of low pressure which can enhance precipitation. So that feature is going to kind of dance around, enhancing the showers here and there, always mainly over coastal areas. The air's too dry over inland areas of the UK to really do much. It's actually getting kind of feeding off those warmer than normal waters over the North Sea, over the Irish Sea. That's where that feature tends to want to hang around, is over the warm water. As it does so, it enhances the convection, the development of cloud, shower activity and whatnot. But generally speaking, it is a very quiet, dry, cold theme through this weekend and on into early next week here. Notice here as we head towards the Tuesday time frame. Now, this is the crucial period in which we're watching that area of low pressure with plenty of mild air and indeed moisture. And of course, if that rain band reaches the UK shoreline, it's likely to produce snowfall because the air mass is still plenty cold. There's that area of low pressure continuing to dance around. Notice here that we are starting to pull in more northerly winds once again, according to the ECMWF. That's quite interesting to see. That feature then heads south. Actually, some of the models show it developing slightly. But look at this here. By the time we reach Thursday of next week, very little changing. Cold, freezing fog, rain, sleet, and snow showers along the coast. Not a whole lot going on in terms of any great change. Then notice here that we've got another feature, an area of low pressure that kind of develops, if you will. And then we've got more areas of low pressure that can develop within the flow, that northerly flow. These features develop like kind of micro features, very small and compact little features that enhance the snow shower activity here. And then we've got another area of low pressure that heads up towards next weekend. So this is fantasy land. I think the one common denominator in all this is the fact that it's going to remain cold through most of next week. And eventually it looks as if the ECMWF has that almost pushing closer to the UK. Let's have a look at the GFS and see what it's showing. So there's that area of low pressure with its shower activity. Let's get back to the right time frame there. That would help. So you've got these coastal showers, snow inland. Actually, notice it's a little bit more pronounced looking, the precipitation on this chart compared to the ECMWF, but very little in the way of change between the ECMWF and the GFS model. Underneath that area of high pressure with plenty of snow on the ground now, by the way, temperatures will get into the low teens below freezing, I reckon anyway. This is 1800 on Monday evening. I reckon if that's the case, very, very chilly conditions indeed. Notice these areas of low pressure are just simply not penetrating that cold air mass. And then we're back into the northerly winds once again, if you notice here, by the time we reach the end of next week. So very little change really. Notice the GFS is indicating a little bit more in the way of higher pressure over the UK. That would certainly act as a lid trapping in the cold air, clear skies, light winds. Temperatures really drop significantly with this type of setup here. And then as we push towards next weekend, area of low pressure makes an attempt at pushing into the British Isles here. So certainly very interesting stuff indeed here. Let's have a look at the snow prospects here. Let's go back to the ECMWF and we'll have a look and see what that is indicating in terms of snow cover. Wow, that's Sunday the 18th of December. Quite interesting here. So of course we are filling the gap, so to speak, in the snow blanket across particularly Scotland, as you can see here, by the time we reach early portion of next week. And of course, this is laying the ground for some very cold temperatures indeed. Feature that area of low pressure that kind of dances around actually tries to print out some significant snow across parts of the far southeast of England, if you notice here. Coastal areas of Wales and England seeing the snow, parts of Northern Ireland as well. Most of Scotland actually has a snow cover according to the model. That's quite interesting. Look at Europe as well, starting to turn more and more white as we go forward here. So that is certainly very interesting to see. That is a heck of a snow cover over Europe, by the way, according to the ECMWF by the time we reach next weekend here. Let's have a very quick look at the GFS. So we continue to see the snow cover becoming increasingly expansive. This cold pattern, I think, the worst is not yet here. So that's certainly worth paying attention to, I think. So yeah, GFS not quite as bullish when it comes to the snow cover aspect, but most of Scotland is covered in snow by the time we reach the middle and second half of next week, which represents the continuation of cold, I think. Which is quite interesting. So -9 this morning. Will it get as cold as that tonight? Maybe over the southern portion of Scotland, north of England, possible. These are the temperatures as of 20 past 5 in the evening. -1 at Loch Liscarnock, 0 at Aviemore, only 2 at Tain, you notice that. But we've got a little bit more in the way of breeze coming in here. Temperatures at or slightly below the freezing mark, especially across the north of England. Got pretty cold actually down in Carlisle this morning. But you notice here 0 to 2 Celsius widely across England and Wales. Cold night to come. Arctic oscillation firmly in the tank, making an attempt at going towards neutral towards the Christmas period. NAO is quite interesting actually. That goes back towards neutral if you notice here. During the period between the 15th and the 19th. So let's have a look at the month so far. Below normal now, firmly across the UK, including Scotland, as you can see here. And then, of course, the ECMWF. This is week 1. This is the weeklies, by the way. You know, textbook, block over Greenland, trough underneath. As we skip to the 7 to 14 day, we're remaining in that pattern, by the way. USA, you're going into the freezer, I think. Day 7 to 14. There's the ridge over Alaska, connecting all the way up to Greenland here, trough underneath. Widespread cold, even reaching the east coast, I think. Still got the trough over the western portion of the UK, Ireland. And even as we continue to play through towards Christmas, New Year, we still have that blocking area of high pressure in North Atlantic, Greenland, Alaska. So we are not out of the woods by any stretch just yet. And of course, when you've got the cold pattern across the UK, this is the setup that you have. This was the scene in Gibraltar earlier on today. Of course, areas of low pressure get sent way to the south. So, you know, when we have a mild, wet, windy winter, that's of course what exactly we would normally get. But they're getting the weather that we had last winter because we've got the cold conditions overhead. So it's just the way it goes. Anyway, that's it for today. I do appreciate you watching. Please like, please share, and if you haven't already done so, hit that subscribe button. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. I'll see you again tomorrow with more. Bye for now.